The whirring of the machine filled their ears. Lights flashed, blindingly bright. Max, Lily, and Sam held their breath. They were time travelers now. Their homemade machine had actually worked. The air crackled with energy. Then, silence. They tumbled out of the machine, landing in a heap. Max, S1. Did it work? Max asked, his voice breathless. Lily grabbed his hand, pulling herself up. Sam scrambled to his feet, eyes wide. Sam, S3. Where are we? He whispered. The world around them was alien. Buildings scraped the sky, twisted and broken. A strange orange sun hung low in the hazy sky. The air was heavy, thick with dust and the stench of decay. It clung to their clothes, their skin, making every breath a laborious task. The once vibrant city was now a ghost of its former self, a haunting reminder of what had been lost. The friends stood in the middle of a ruined street, their eyes scanning the devastation around them. Each corner held a memory, now tainted by the destruction that had swept through like a merciless storm. Buildings lay in crumbled heaps, some still burning, their skeletal remains reaching out like the hands of the damned. The fire's glow cast an eerie light, dancing shadows on the walls that still stood. Shattered glass glittered under the eerie light, a cruel mockery of the beauty that once was. Each shard a fragment of a broken dream, reflecting the hopelessness that now pervaded the air. A shiver ran down Lily's spine. The cold wasn't just from the air, it was the chill of despair, of realizing that everything they had known was gone. Lily, S2. This place, it's gone. Her voice was barely a whisper, the weight of the loss pressing down on her. She began, her voice catching in her throat. The words were hard to form, each one a struggle against the overwhelming grief. Max swallowed hard, his usual cheerfulness gone. The gravity of the situation had stripped away his lighthearted nature, leaving only a somber resolve. Max, S1. What happened here? His voice was filled with confusion and a desperate need for answers. He picked up a torn piece of fabric, once brightly colored, now faded and ripped. It was a remnant of a happier time, now just a ghost of the past. It felt wrong in his hands, a whisper of a life lived and lost. The fabric was a silent testament to the lives that had been shattered. Sam pointed to a faded sign, its letters barely visible. The sign was a relic, a piece of history that had somehow survived the chaos. Sam, S3, New York City, but different. His voice was filled with a mix of recognition and disbelief, as if he couldn't quite reconcile the past with the present. A low growl echoed through the ruined streets. The friends froze, fear gripping their hearts. The growl built into a roar, shaking the ground beneath their feet. Lily, S2. What was that? Lily whispered, her voice trembling. Max pulled her closer, his eyes scanning the shadows. Max, S1. Whatever it is, it's big. They moved cautiously through the rubble, following the sound of the creature. The stench in the air grew stronger, a mix of rotten meat and something else, something alien and terrifying. Then they saw it, or rather, the shadow of it. A massive silhouette against the burning sky, moving with terrifying grace. Fear threatened to overwhelm Lily. She could feel it creeping up her spine, making her heart race and her palms sweat. The world around her seemed to close in, the darkness pressing in from all sides. But then she saw the fear in the faces of the few survivors they passed, huddled in the shadows. Their eyes were wide with terror, their bodies trembling as they clung to each other for comfort. Their eyes held a flicker of desperate hope when they saw the strangers. It was a small spark, but it was enough to ignite something within Lily. Lily knew they couldn't just stand by. She felt a surge of determination, a fire that burned away the fear. They had to act, to do something to help these people. Lily, S2. We have to do something. Her voice was steady, filled with a newfound resolve that surprised even her. She said, her voice firming with resolve. She looked at her friends, hoping they felt the same urgency she did. Max and Sam exchanged a look. They had been through so much together, faced so many challenges. But this was different. They had faced bullies and tricky situations before. But this was different. This was a matter of life and death, and the stakes had never been higher. This was life or death. Max, S1. Lily's right. We can't just run. His voice was filled with conviction, a determination that mirrored Lily's. These people need our help. They can't do this alone, and neither can we. We have to to stand together to fight for what's right. Sam nodded, his fear replaced by a grim determination. He knew what they had to do, and he was ready to face whatever came their way. Sam S3. We might be time travelers, but we are not heartless. We have a responsibility to help those in need, no matter the cost. And with that, they set off, ready to face the unknown with courage and hope. Section 5. The plan. This was the moment they had been waiting for, the culmination of their desperate efforts to survive. They found a group of survivors hiding in the basement of a collapsed building. The air was thick with dust and the scent of fear, but also a glimmer of hope. A makeshift fire cast flickering shadows on their faces, illuminating the determination etched into their expressions. The fire was their beacon, a symbol of their resilience. An old woman, her eyes filled with wisdom and sorrow, told them about the creature. Her voice was a whisper, yet it carried the weight of countless stories and warnings. It came from the sky, she rasped, destroying everything in its path. The creature was relentless, a force of nature that seemed unstoppable. They learned its weaknesses, fire, and something called sonic vibrations. These were their only weapons against the beast, their only chance at survival. Hope flickered in Max's eyes. He was young, but his spirit was unbreakable. He believed in their ability to fight back, to reclaim their world. "We can do this," he said, already sketching a plan on a scrap of paper. His hands moved with purpose, each stroke of the pencil a step towards their salvation. "We just need the right tools," he continued, his voice steady and confident. The group nodded in agreement, their resolve strengthening with each passing moment. Sam, the tech whiz, knew just what they could use to create the sonic weapon. His mind raced with ideas, each one more innovative than the last. Lily, resourceful and quick-witted, focused on gathering fuel for their fire attack. She moved swiftly, her eyes scanning the area for anything that could be of use. Together, they formed a plan. Each person brought their unique skills to the table, creating a strategy that was as diverse as it was effective. They knew the road ahead would be tough, and they were ready to face it head-on. As the first light of dawn broke over the devastated landscape, they felt a renewed sense of purpose. This was their chance to fight back, to reclaim their world from the clutches of the creature. The plan was set, and they were ready to execute it with unwavering determination. Section 6. Training Montage. Days turned into weeks. The friends trained with the survivors, learning to fight with whatever they could find. Rusty pipes, chunks of concrete, even sharpened pieces of metal. Lily, surprisingly adept with a makeshift bow and arrow, became their ranged weapon. Sam, armed with his sonic device, practiced until he could create ear-splitting blasts. Max, their leader, rallied the survivors with his unwavering optimism and courage. They practiced their plan over and over until it became second nature. The creature returned again and again, drawn to the city by some unknown hunger. Each attack brought them closer to their goal, closer to defeating the monster. They were ready. Section 7. Clash of Courage. The ground trembled as the creature returned. It was even larger than they imagined, its scales glinting in the strange light. Fear threatened to consume them, but they pushed it down, fueled by their training and the hope in the eyes of the survivors. The battle raged. Lily's arrows found their mark, enraging the beast. Sam unleashed his sonic weapon, creating waves of disorienting sound. Max, fearless, led a charge, drawing the creature's attention. He dodged and weaved, a whirlwind of motion, leading it towards their trap. The creature, blinded by rage and pain, stumbled into the heart of the burning ruins. Section 8. Dawn in the Rubble. The final confrontation was a symphony of fire and sound. The air crackled with energy as Sam unleashed the full power of his device. The creature roared in pain, its massive body illuminated by the flames. Then, silence. The creature collapsed, its body crushing buildings in its fall. Dust and smoke filled the air. The silence was deafening. As the dust settled, the first rays of a new dawn broke through the haze. The survivors emerged from their hiding places, their faces a mixture of awe and relief. They had done it. They had defeated the monster. Section 9. Back to the Future. With the city slowly rebuilding, the friends knew it was time to go home. They said their goodbyes, their hearts heavy. The old woman took Lily's hand, her eyes filled with gratitude. "You gave us hope," she whispered. "Never forget that." The time machine flickered back to life, its energy depleted but still functional. They stepped back into their own time, forever changed by their experience. The world seemed brighter, more precious. They had faced their fears and emerged stronger, braver. Section 10, Echoes of the Future. Back in their own time, life went on, but they carried the memory of the ruined city, the bravery of the survivors, and the weight of their victory with them. They knew that the future was not set in stone. They had seen the consequences of inaction, the power of courage, the importance of hope. The future, they now understood, was something to be fought for, protected, cherished, and they were ready. They were the time-traveling trio, and they would answer the call wherever and whenever it found them.